Alagbaoso and his friends Joseph Matimba had both initially denied murder, but Osita Alagbaoso, as you said there, was found guilty of murder, but they actually acquitted Matimba of murder and wounding with intent, but he will be sentenced later.
Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me today, and this story comes from Ashford in Kent. And it's about gang violence that started off as 3 friends and ended in murder. The prosecution said in court they believe the violence started last year in January. It was between 2 gangs, one called Kblock and one called NPB, which stands for No Plan B. The teens told the police that it started over a dispute, and throughout the 8-week trial the jury was shown video evidence and also audios of the gang violence. The jury was told a falling out between the friends resulted in somebody called Qasim Ibrahim being stabbed in Memorial Gardens while sitting on a bench with 2 of his friends. This led to gang members exchanging threats before Jaydon Mcfarlane was confronted while he was carrying out a drug deal in the Clock House area just off Brookfield Road. The victim, Jaydon Mcfarlane, ended up being ambushed and killed by Alagbaoso. Alagbaoso was armed with 2 knives, and one of them was a Rambo-style knife when he entered the crime scene, and the prosecution said this was at 12:25 in the afternoon when he confronted him. Mr McFarlane, who was Alagbaoso's former friend, was stabbed twice and the knife broke and the blade was caught in Jaydon's clothes. The handle fell to the ground and McFarlane managed to get up and run away from his attacker, but he was chased down with the Rambo-style knife. The prosecution added that Alagbaoso chased him to a small residential car park where he produced the Rambo knife, but put it away after he was seen by somebody in a car. 1 hour later, Jaydon would go on to die from the knife wounds that he'd already sustained. There was a 17-centimetre wound that opened his chest cavity and pierced his lung. The court also heard that the fallout was the result of why this happened, and they said Alagbaoso glorified violence. Some of the phrases used were slicing, juicing and slashing at Maidstone Crown Court. The judge also heard that one of the other gang members was acquitted of murder, but would later go on to gloat on social media. Joseph Matimba was found not guilty of murder in March 2020. The prosecutor spoke at the 2-day hearing for the sentencing of Alagbaoso, but who was convicted by the same jury that cleared Joseph. The prosecutor said that Joseph Matimba was an enthusiastic gang member and he carried knives and was involved in drug dealing. He took delight in the murder of Jaydon Mcfarlane and showed his approval in rap songs about the murder. The prosecution said that he rejected his remorse and said that he hadn't made any attempt to turn his life around. They also heard in court that Matimba had wrote online that 2 men had been got down and they were 2 spliffs. And this was a reference, they said, to Jaydon Mcfarlane and the death of another male. The court also seen Snapchat logs where Matimba had pasted copies of witness statements that were seen inside Maidstone Crown Court. He also bragged about not snitching and gloated about being acquitted of murder. He said, "My brother, I had your back in court." And in another, he said, "My brother, we started this. I'll make sure I see it through to the end." Kent Live newspaper said that Matimba was well educated and from London and 19 years old. He was acquitted of the murder but convicted of perverting the course of justice for helping Jaydon's killer change clothes inside the Ashford takeaway restaurant in the disabled toilets. They said that Matimba has since moved to Leicester and he was locked away for 18 months, but due to the 450 days that he spent on remand, the judge freed him and said that he'd spent long enough. And since then he's released music, and one of these songs is under the artist name J Caps, and he's filmed in the Leicester area. The judge said that Mr McFarlane was no angel and he just completed a drug deal at the time of the stabbing. After the stabbing, Alagbaoso fled to Canterbury and he was helped by Matimba and Tegan, who gave him fresh clothes and a vehicle. The court was also played recordings of taped phone calls, and the judge said that anyone that listened to them would never forget them. They would hear Alagbaoso and his friends joking about the death of Jaydon Mcfarlane and also sharing pictures of Jaydon dead on social media. So this story definitely goes to show how a lot of the time it does tend to be your friends that you'll fall out with and the ones that will end up getting you convicted. Alagbaoso will now spend a minimum of 20 years in prison, as the judge said, for the murder. And Alagbaoso said in court that he was sorry for the murder and said, "I know that I've done wrong. Words cannot describe the pain that I have inflicted on your family, and I am sorry for this, and I will never be able to make it up to him. I never wanted this to happen." The judge said that you knew exactly what you were doing, and you knew that it was wrong, and you exemplified it, glorified it, and took part in violence. And you will only ever be released when you show that you have reformed. So what a completely messed up story, these young men that are going to spend the rest of their lives in jail over something so minor with somebody that used to be a friend. So rest in peace to Jaydon Mcfarlane. I really appreciate you joining me. Please don't forget to follow me online as well at Scarcity Studios on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok and Twitter. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news, and the written version is on the website. Peace.